Hello, and welcome to another edition of Your County at Work, the show that brings you to the front lines of hardworking men and women of Newcastle County government. Today, I'm happy to tell you that Bernard Pepukayi, County Attorney for the Office of Law, is here in the NCC TV studio today to talk about the latest happenings in his office. Thank you so much for being here today, Bernard.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. How are you today?
I am very well. Good to be here.
Good. I'm glad that you took time out of your busy schedule to come and share with our viewing audience exactly what the Office of Law does here for Newcastle County government. So let's start off with you telling us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, again, Bernard Pepukayi. I'm actually from here, Wilmington. I went to Clark Atlanta University, graduated from the University of Iowa College of Law, came back to Delaware, worked in the Attorney General's office, clerked for the Superior Court, worked in the Family Court of Delaware, and then I came here to be the county attorney for Newcastle County government.
Okay, that's a great appointment from the county executive. I didn't know the extent of your background. That's wonderful. So, what is a typical day in the Office of Law?
Well, there are a lot of typical days in the Office of Law, and the days typical can vary depending on your position.
Mm-hmm.
For me, a typical day is running back and forth to a lot of different things. For example, today I got in the office about 8 o'clock. I was able to go through emails that I was received throughout the evening and night, and then I had met with a couple of staff members on various issues, and then I had a 10 o'clock meeting, a general managers meeting with the county executive and all the other general managers, and then we came straight to here. After here, I have another meeting to follow, and then we have I have meetings concerning contract negotiations later, and then in the evening, I actually have some meetings in the evening with some officials in the city of Wilmington relating to the city's and the county's business. So in between, I'm constantly, pulled to the side for issues that may pop up here or there. Some days, my days may be, if I'm working on a specific case, I may clear my calendar and work on a specific case to prep it for litigation or prep it for some strategic direction. Other days may be filled with meetings and with various people, entities, groups, whether internal or external. I do a lot of, have a lot of interactions with those within county government as well as those outside of county government. What makes the Office of Law pretty unique is that we are involved with every aspect of county government. So we interact with every county department, and something involves the law that someone is doing, and so either myself or someone from the office is involved at some level in every department and or office within county government.
That's good. I think the word typical wasn't a good word for me to use. So how many people are actually in the Office of Law?
Right now we have a total of 19 employees in the Office of Law. Of those employees, we have 14 attorneys and 5 support staff. Of course, you have myself, and then my second in command is County Solicitor Daryl Parson. Then we have a first assistant who is Judy Mitchell, and then we have several assistant county attorneys. Each county attorney is assigned to specific areas that they operate within. Some county attorneys represent the various departments in county government. For example, the Department of Land Use, or the Office of Human Resources, or the Department of Community Services, or Public Safety Department. And then some attorneys concentrate more on litigation when someone sues or attempt to sue the county, or if the county want to initiate an action against some other entity. So it varies. So we have 14 attorneys, as I stated before, a total of 14 attorneys working on a variety of matters. And myself, along with the county solicitor, we kind of are more general, and we kind of do a little bit of everything. He focused a little bit more on public safety, and I'm focusing on everything.
Okay.
So, you know, I have a good staff. I have good people in the Office of Law. Very pleased with all the competent people that we have, and we're doing and performing very well.
Now, you said county solicitor.
Yes.
What is a solicitor?
Well, a solicitor may vary depending upon how someone is using that title. For example, in the city of Wilmington, the head of their law department is called the city solicitor.
Okay.
So in some governmental entities, solicitor is synonymous with the person who is the top of that particular legal entity.
Okay.
So some governments may have a county solicitor. Some governments may have a county attorney. Some governments may have a city solicitor, and some governments may have a city attorney. And Newcastle County government, we have a county attorney that is in charge of the Office of Law, and the county solicitor is basically my right hand.
Okay.
You know, my number two
Okay.
guy, the person that I lean on, depend on, and we have more of a partner relationship. You know, I'm pleased to have someone like Daryl Parson to be by my side to help guide and direct the Office of Law. So, you know, even though he's number two in the office, he's more like my partner.
Okay, I like that. Outside of the Office of Law, do you deal with any other attorneys or lawyers?
Absolutely. Matter of fact, the county is involved in so many different things at any given time that we don't have the physical manpower to handle all the legal issues that we deal with. In addition, because we're in government, issues of a very unique or specific nature may arise where we may not have the internal expertise to handle that particular matter. In those situations, it doesn't make sense for the county to, for example, hire a lawyer that specializes in one nuanced area of law that we may never or may not
Right.
use again, you know, for another 10 years or
Right.
something. So in those situations, we hire what we call outside counsel. So if I make a determination that either this case will take up so much of our time that it will interfere with the daily operations of the office, or if I make a determination that this case is of such a unique nature that we need particular expertise, then I will appoint outside counsel to represent Newcastle County in any given matter. We can have the number of those who represent Newcastle County as outside counsel varies at any given time depending on what we have going on, depending on the suits that we may have or the actions we may want to initiate. I think right now we may have at least 5 or 6, actually probably about 6 or 7 different outside counsel working on various matters currently. Some of those things are smaller, some of those things are larger, and you know, it just varies depending on the time period in what's going on. And I'm also responsible for supervising that work as
Okay.
well. So, you know, I am the person that appoints them, so I'm also responsible for making sure that those outside attorneys, excuse me, that are actually performing work for Newcastle County is doing that and doing it properly. And again, we have some good outside attorneys. Otherwise, they wouldn't be our outside counsel if they weren't.
Right,
there.
most
So that's the
definitely.
whole purpose of it.
Throughout a year, about how many cases does the Office of Law see?
Oh, wow. That's, I can't, that is something that is truly uncertain for a number of reasons. One, because from year to year it may vary. Two, our cases are both initiated by the county as well as we are responding to someone that may be initiating a case against us.
Okay.
Our cases are also, we may have some more routine type cases, and we may have some very large litigation type cases. For example, we have county code cases where county code inspectors may go out and may cite property owners for code violations that they have on properties, whether someone refuses to remove trash from their property that's becoming an eyesore to the neighborhood or dangerous to the community, or whether they have a porch that's getting ready to fall down, or whether it's an abandoned property that a landlord has just left in disrepair and refuses to do anything to bring it up to code. Those type of cases are more regular, whereas they're called problem property type cases. So we prosecute those type of cases because they're in violation of the Newcastle County Building Code. So those cases come before the Justice of the Peace Court, and there may be 10 cases on in one given day in court for those code violations. Whereas you may have some larger litigation-related cases that may deal with anything from land use matters to 1983 civil rights claims, et cetera, and so forth, that those cases may last for years because the litigation is so large. So whereas those code violations may be something that happens regularly, you may prosecute hundreds and hundreds within the same time that you may litigate one case in another direction.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Out of all of the cases that you have personally, since you've been here, how many cases have been won by the Office of Law, or a percentage?
Well, it's one can be interpreted various ways. One could be interpreted as going to court, fully litigation, or a final decision by the court. And depending on which way that court comes out on that decision determines whether someone may have won or lost. One could also include whether or not the county has settled any matters. And if the county was able to settle matters, that can be viewed as a win. Someone could also view that as not a win if you settled a matter.
Gotcha.
So it can go both ways. So it's a judgment call and it's a perception call. What I can say is that since I've been county attorney, I'm confident that the county has resolved every case in a manner that has been most favorable to the county government and the people of Newcastle County. And I can say this based upon the record. Because at the end of the day, I believe that all of our settlements that have taken place, we have settled them in an amount that has been below litigation costs if we were to further litigate it, and or we have settled it in a way that have been favorable to the county. But my philosophy is that I don't believe that the county should just always settle. I believe that, the county should always defend itself vigorously. And I believe that sometimes we have to go to trial. If we have to go to trial, we have to go to trial. One of my first legal positions as an attorney was a prosecutor in the Department of Justice, so I'm not scared of the courtroom at all. And I can say that we have gone to trial and hearings on a number of cases and a decent amount of cases, and we have received favorable judgment in every single case that has had a final determination made by the court. So I believe, based upon the record, that we have had a very successful tenure since I've been county attorney.
Very good. That speaks volume of you and your team that you have there at the Office of Law. My next observation is that when I come over to the Office of Law, I love how everybody's business you can't hear being talked about. So confidentiality is very important. Let's talk about confidentiality.
Mm-hmm. Well, absolutely. I mean, my personal philosophy is, if I'm talking to someone, I like to talk to that person,
Mm-hmm.
not anyone else that may be around. And I think as lawyers, we're generally trained to appreciate confidentiality for a number of reasons. One, because if something is confidential, it needs to stay confidential,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a hallmark of our profession. Two, you never know if information is released to the wrong person, how that may be used against you or used against the interest of the county. So you want to be careful with that. And equally as important, we want to make sure that there is no miscommunication. So when we communicate something to someone, that it's a direct line of communication, there is no ambiguity, and those who we are communicating with know exactly where the Office of Law stands. So I think everyone in the Office of Law appreciates that and holds that dear to their performance. And I certainly hold it dear to my performance. So you're in the Office of Law, any Office of Law, whether you go to a law firm or whether you go to another governmental entity, I would like to think that they would have those same principles. And I believe, I have no reason not to believe that they don't have those same principles governing them and that they hold dear to their establishment as well.
Okay. Is there anything that I did not go over that you want to talk about before we end our segment?
I don't have anything further. I just, appreciate the opportunity to come on, appreciate the opportunity to share all the things that we have done in the Office of Law, appreciate the opportunity to highlight the members in the Office of Law, both attorneys and non-attorneys alike. They have done an excellent job, and the proof is in the pudding. The mere fact that we have received favorable judgment in every case that has been decided by the court shows the diligence, shows the work ethic, and shows the competence of all the people that we have in the Office of Law. And quite frankly, it's one of those quiet things that I think people that work in the Office of Law, you see all other areas of county government and all other areas of government, but these are some of the most dedicated county employees that we have in our government today.
I concur. Thank you so much for coming on today. Okay, that brings us to a conclusion of another episode of Your County at Work. I hope you learned something today. Please keep in tune to NCC TV to learn more about your local government, Newcastle County. And please don't forget to like us on the Newcastle County Government page on Facebook. For County Executive Tom Gordon, Executive Producer Jim McDonald, Director Tony Prado, and the NCC TV crew members Steve Berg, Lisa Lancaster, and Rob Paolo, thank you for watching. This is Wayna Dobson signing off until next time.